Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Folks, can you believe we are finally getting to the end of all the stories that took place during A New Hope? How many weeks have I been doing this? Okay, maybe I've drug it out too long, but anyway, here come the last two stories you need to read before moving past A New Hope. I hope I got them all. The first one is called The Occupation of Rhamalai. Now this was in Star Wars Adventure Journal number 13. It's by M.H. Watkins. And in this one, Danelle Moonrunner, who is a stormtrooper recruit, is helping one of his friends, Nadra, who is also a recruit from the Imperial Garrison. And he's helping her save her mother, because her mother is deemed unnecessary for the Empire and they're going to execute her. This is a very, very generic story about, two people who are recruits for the Empire, whether forced or voluntary, and they just realize the evils, the plain down dirty nastiness of the Imperials. And of course it may force them to become rebels at the end. Who knows? I didn't think the story was all that creative. It wasn't bad. It's not a bad story. It's just not as creative as the other ones I've talked about. Also, you have someone like Moonrunner. Get it? Because there's a Skywalker. Why can't there be a Moon Runner? Yeah, I don't know. Kind of hokey, but there it is. Now, the next one comes from Star Wars Galaxies number 10. And the author, I cannot pronounce his last name. I'm going to try here. I'm going to butcher it. It's Peter Schweifer. Hassenpfeffer. Schweifer is what I'm going to go with here. Peter Schweifer. And I'm sorry that I don't know his last name because he actually wrote a pretty good short story. This one's called Sandbound on Tattooine. This one stars Platt O'Keefe, the smuggler from Westing Games fame, as she is trying to evade some bounty hunters on the planet Tattooine. There aren't that many Platt O'Keefe stories. Platt O'Keefe was someone in Westing Games that would give you smuggling tips like, hey there, smuggler. She'd be leaned up against her cockpit, or you may be leaning on one of the chairs and going, let me give you some tips. If you go to this starport, that's basically all she was in Westing Games supplemental material. But Peter, blank last name, fill in the last name, was actually, he decided to make a short story about her. And I really enjoyed this because I think I've already spoken about this before. I love Platt O'Keefe. I think she's a very interesting character that just didn't get enough love in short stories or in Star Wars fandom, period. But very cool little character. This is it's a decent story. Of course, it has her going all around Tatooine and outsmarting, using her ingenuity. It also has her riding on a Ronto, because at this point the re-release for the movies had come out and everyone was scrambling to put Rontos and swoop bikes and whatever else George had just included in the new series to say, yes, it was always there. And there were Rontos everywhere after the re-release of episode 1 came out. The comic book was always showing Rontos in the background, like, yeah, we've always had them there. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me either, but I do think it was kind of funny that he felt like he had to ride her on a Ronto. But of course, at the same time, I can't fault him either, because, hey, it's a new alien species that George is letting us play with. It's like, hey, Dad created a new toy for us to use in our storytelling. Let's use it. So I guess I just argued myself out at that point. Anyway, after you finish those two stories, congratulations! You were done with everything that happened during A New Hope. Now it's time to really sink our teeth into the Rebellion era for the next year at least. All right, folks. See you next time.